Hello and welcome to just a real brief overview of what Google Classroom looks like. And remember, with Google Classroom you have to have a Google Apps for Education account. It won't work with just a regular Gmail account. You and your students will have to be under the Google Apps for Education. Google Classroom is set up, it's for the teacher that's not necessarily having to work with so much techie side. It's very easy to use as kind of a bridge or a gap between what you create and what you want to share with your students. Now remember, when you start sharing documents with students, if you share something with them and they're sharing it back with you, you could have 20 to 40 different versions coming back, and it really gets cluttered up in your Share with Me drive. So Google Classroom does a great job of organizing it. It creates a nice folder which has all of your students' assignments in it, and it also does a great job of showing whether or not your students are finished or not finished with an assignment. Alright, here's what the Google Classroom site looks like. Now, I've already gone ahead and I've enrolled in a classroom as if I were a student, and I've also created a couple classrooms here with my current students that I have. So here's how easy it is to create a new classroom. All I have to do is go to the plus in the top right hand corner and click Join Class or Create Class. Now, as a student coming in, all they're doing is going to the URL classroom.google.com. They click Join Class, and then the first question says your role. Are you a student or a teacher? They click Student. They enter the classroom as long as you've invited them. It's a very slick system to do. So I'm going to click on Create Class. Now this one I want to call EDU 320, and the section I'm just going to call it My Name. I could call it, if I had a bunch of different courses, I could call it different courses. I could call it language arts. I could call it reading, math, science, whatever I want to do in which I want to share a bunch of documents or assignments with my students. I click Create. Takes a couple seconds here to get the classroom set up and created. Now what it does is it's going to give it its own separate page. Kind of has a Facebook Edmodo Schoolology feel to it. It's an excellent way to get your students into designing and creating different assignments. It also gives them a stream, and the stream is set up kind of like a similar connection between this with your Facebook or your Edmodo. It allows the students to make comments as well. You can post a question, like a discussion question, and you can allow your students to type back or to discuss it. Now, if I don't like this theme, I think it's a pretty cool theme, but I can change the theme here. I can select theme, or I can upload my own photo. Now, if I had this for a bunch of different courses throughout my day, I would want to change it so I can quickly see this is for the class EDU 320. It has the frog's eye, the frog's face. Here's what we can do. The very first time you create a classroom, it'll give you some tour buttons. It'll say, click here to do this and so forth. I'm going to walk you through what it looks like right now. One of the first things I want to do is invite my students. So I go to Students, and right now there aren't any students. I can simply give them this code right here, or what's really easy, I can go to Invite Students. Now this is connected to your Google Contacts. Now, assuming you've already started sharing documents with students, you already have your contacts set up. This is how easy it is. I go to my contacts. Now, I want to search a specific classroom or a whole grade level or whatever I want to do. I can search through my contacts right here. I want to just invite these people. Now, this is a double here, so I don't want to invite that person. I want to go to Invite Students. You invited 2 users. 1 user was not invited. You cannot invite students outside your domain to classes. Now what happens is you have to be inside the Google Apps for Education domain. If you're not, you will receive this message. So I'm just going to click Dismiss. That's perfectly fine. I don't need someone to join. I can't have them join outside of this. What these 2 students will do is when they go to the internet, they type in the URL box, the web browser at the top, they're going to type in classroom.google.com. They're going to click Student, they're going to click Join, then they have access to this. Here's what else you can do as a teacher. Title. If I want to give this a specific title, maybe I want to call this EDU 320. Class description is optional. It's for the spring of, or we'll just say spring 2015. Here's my email address. Here's the folder that it creates in Google Drive. Room. I'm just going to say Computer Lab. Now what's really cool is this folder, every time you create an assignment for your students, it's going to go to this folder. So I'm going to show you what the folder looks like on my drive first. When I start creating assignments, this folder will start to fill up. And what's really neat about it is it's going to keep it organized for me. I have my search box right here. Nothing is getting shared back with me. I'm the owner and I'm sharing it with the students. Very slick system. Now I'm going to click save just to save my updates here. Course information has been updated. I'm going to go back to my stream. Now on my stream, I can make an announcement or I can give them an assignment. So here's my first announcement. Welcome to Google Classroom. You will find all of your assignments here. Please check back frequently. Now what I can do if I have multiple classes that I want this message to go to, I can click this drop down arrow and I can select all the classes that I have. Now if you're teaching in a multi-section building or whatever the case is, you can do that. It's a pretty neat deal. I can upload a file to attach. I'm directly connected to my Google Drive. I'm also connected to YouTube. So now you can start to think about, I created a video for my students to watch. I can add the video right here. Here's a link. Here's a specific link that I want my students to have access to. I can click post. Now my students can come in and if they want to, they can type a message back. They can say, hey, thanks or whatever, I'm looking forward to this, so you can have some input on what they're doing. Now here's the next thing I can do. I can create an assignment. Now this is assuming that I've already gone through on Google Drive and created my template or my assignment. So this assignment is just called Book Jacket. I can have a due date. This is really neat because it cuts it off. So if my due date is, let's say, next Friday, if I want to add a specific time, I can add a specific time. I don't want to add the specific time for this one. I do, however, want to go attach something from my Google Drive. Now, I saved it in my 5th grade folder. So I'm going to open up my 5th grade folder. And in here, I have one that's called Book Jacket April 2015. I'm going to add it. Now again, if I had multiple classes, I can click right here and I can add it to all the classes that I need to. Or I can just select a few. Either way, it works great. Here's another option you can do with this. Students can view the file. They can also edit the file. Now this would be a whole class where they're working on it together. That's where you're willing to let them jump on and be editors as well. Or make a copy for each student. Now this last option is very effective if you want your students to be able to turn in the assignment. For instance, in Google Classroom, in the top right hand corner when they're working on an assignment, it's a document, presentation, whatever it is, there will be a button that says share. They can share with their peers. They can get all the editing marks done and so forth. They can share it with a student from a different classroom or whatever the case is. When they're completely done with it and they want to turn it in, it's as simple as clicking turn in. Really neat deal. So I want to make a copy for each student. I can assign it. I have my due date, I have a description if I want to. I can click assign. While it's assigning, it's only assigning for 2 students because I only have 2 students in this classroom. I can see this right here. I have a nice dashboard to it. It says Book Jacket, 0 are done, 0 not done. That shows me no students have been added to my Google Classroom. Each student will get his or her own copy. I can go in here, I can edit, I can delete, I can make changes to it. This part is really neat because you can see this will show you how you can grade it as well. So just imagine that you have all your students listed here, status, they're done, they're not done, or whatever, grade, points, and I can also give them ungraded. Maybe it's just something where I want to check real quick and I don't need to worry about the grades. You can set these up, and my guess is that eventually Google Classroom will have more grading options. This doesn't have to be a percentage. It could be a points. It could be a different way if you had a criteria or you had a rubric you could use. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. I can clear it. I can download all the grades. I can email the grades. I can check it to see it's in the folder in the correct Google Drive folder as well. So the main thing here is just get yourself real comfortable with it, practice, play around with it. And what you can also do is if you have multiple classrooms set up, I can click these 3 bars over here and it will take me to whichever classroom I want to go to. Go to the next classroom, see how that is, and you can just keep adding assignments and keep checking back to show your students how you can interact between yourself and your students. Thank you very much, and I hope you like Google Classroom.